Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today's a special day for me. As we were chatting just before we hit the record button, I hope you don't mind me indulging a little bit and taking advantage of this call for just a few minutes. I do want to carry on from last week's subject. Last week, we talked about building our contact list, what that looks like, of course, some critical functions around that. I want to go on from that this week. At the request of a number of people since that call on what do we do next? How do we actually reach out and invite? What are some ways that we can do that? So I will spend a bit of time doing that today and discussing how we can reach out and invite and some sample messages for warm and for cold market in that space. Before I do, like I said, if you don't mind me indulging a little bit, like I said, today's a big day for me because I have written a book and it goes live today. There's a small number of people that have seen the book already or have at least had digital versions. The hard copy is now available on Amazon, a number of other places as well, of course, Barnes & Noble and a host of other bookstores around the world. But Amazon is the place to go. We've made a special deal, just so that you know, with my publisher. We've got, I guess I should point out, we've got the paperback version, the paperback version here and the hardback version here. There's also an Audible version as well, if you're into listening to books rather than reading them. And there is also the Kindle version. We've made a special deal with our publisher for this week only to reduce the Kindle price to 99 cents. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because I would love to get it into as many of my friends' hands as possible and do that without asking too much from them as a consequence. So for this week only, 99 cents, it means it gives everyone a chance, if you are a Kindle user at least, to do that. Otherwise, of course, you've got the other versions as well. If you choose to go that route. The book, as you can see, is called The Empowerment Paradox, 7 Vital Virtues to Turn Struggle into Strength. And the purpose of the book is to discuss the reality that many of us do not wish to face, that joy and suffering coexist. Often we're asked, aren't we, if you were to look into the future, to your ideal state and your ideal life, what would it look like? And we create this kind of emotional homeostasis where everything is without friction and without pain and without worry and without struggle, which actually removes our opportunities for joy and victory, don't they? If we have that, we can't really have that sense of thriving without that sense of friction. So the first portion of the book is devoted to exploring that. Why do the two need to coexist? What are the benefits? And what are the realities around that? And then the second part of the book goes into the vital virtues that I outline that give us a chance to become self-directed in our own personal development versus following a formulaic approach of follow these simple steps. It's more a matter of be this kind of person, have this kind of strength. And this is where that strength comes from, these virtues, these attributes. And it kind of deals with, to some degree, what happens if my pain or my struggle or my adversity is chronic? What if it's dragging on? What if it's going on for a long time? How do I cope with that? What do I do with that? I do get a little bit vulnerable and share. If I'm going to write a book on adversity, I need to share some of my own personal experiences with that. And I do share some things which I haven't shared with the public or with a wider circle in regards to things that I have struggled with that have been chronic and enduring and painful. And so whilst the book isn't a memoir by any stretch, I guess at a subconscious level, it kind of is, because it doesn't necessarily go through a lot of details of my personal, I do share personal stories, but some of them I respect the privacy of. But the lessons that I'm sharing, I guess, are the consequence of how I've needed to respond in order to get to the other side of what adversity requires. So it's something that is very important to me. And I hope, excuse me, I hope as you get the chance to read it, that you'll be able to get a sense of what this can do for you. I noticed a formula, a virtue cycle, if you will, that's been taught for a couple of thousand years. And that is that adversity leads to patience, and patience leads to experience, and experience leads to hope. And I thought, well, that's true. But for many people, the opposite also happens, doesn't it? That adversity leads to impatience, and impatience can lead to bad experience, and bad experience can lead to hopelessness. Why is that? It really depends on how people choose to respond to the adversity in the first place. What are we going to do about that? How are we going to react? In the space, there is a space that exists between action and reaction, and that is choice. We all have choice. And what we choose to do with that, I think, is really, really important. My invitation today, please, as my beloved friends, go to Amazon, type in The Empowerment Paradox. You'll see that it is live and up there. You'll see a book that looks like this, and get your copy. And if you could be so kind, if you like the book, of course, please leave a review. That always makes a difference so that I can get the word out to as many other people as possible. My goal is to kind of share this message with everyone. You'll notice at the back of the book, when you read it in the acknowledgements, I reference my Nikan team. I don't mention people by name, but most certainly the humans being more message and that 5 pillars theme that we all advocate and champion certainly is alive and well in the pages of that book. So for me, you know, I spoke, a number of people I've spoken with about this over the course of a number of years. You know, what's a great way to lead with the business? Sometimes we lead with product, sometimes we lead with opportunity. I wonder if sometimes we could lead with the philosophy, our cause. You know, what is it Simon Sinek has said for so many years? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Yeah. Our why is humans being more. So something to consider there. But I'm absolutely thrilled. I've had a number of great people review the book. Dr. Thornton is one of them. Thank you, Dr. Thornton, for doing that. Randy Gage was very kind and gave me a big plug for this book as well. I think you all know Randy Gage, one of our leaders in our industry. Brian Lee, who's the founder of The Honest Company, if you're familiar with them, or LegalZoom, if you're familiar with LegalZoom. He set that up. Dr. Russell Foster, the professor from Oxford that we had at the 40th celebration, was kind enough to write a blurb for me as well. The president of Amway Japan, the head of talent, the former head of talent for Santander Bank, and a number of others. So it's been in some good hands in preparation for this. So, and thank you to those that were kind enough to test the waters with me. I sent out, like I said, just a handful of copies to some of my close friends here. Thank you for testing it out with me and giving me your candid feedback. I really appreciate it. So that's my little bit of self-indulgence. Well taken. Thank you very much for bearing with me on that. And like I said, please spread the word as well. I have set up a Facebook page and a Twitter account and an Instagram page for the Empowerment Paradox. If you haven't joined it as well, if you wish to, of course, it's not going to be Nikan specific. It's going to be all about the Empowerment Paradox. Yeah, dealing with adversity, dealing with suffering, responding to our challenges and trials, and how to develop these characteristics and these character traits that we want to have so that we can become the best version of ourselves. That's going to be the whole theme and message. So if you want to jump on there, by all means, you'll find me on those places as well. And
you will see it well. He is so transparent. It's amazing. It's one of the psych books I wish I had had when I was in school. Very well done, Ben.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been, yeah, it's a passion project of mine. I did a degree in English a number of years back, specifically for the purpose of getting into creative writing and doing more of things like this, because some people like to go and play golf or play tennis. I like to write, yeah, and I love to read. So that's what I do in my spare time. I should do something a bit more physical as well, because my stomach suggests that that would be a good thing to do. So maybe I'll get a balance down the road. So yeah, that's enough, enough of the book. So let's jump into, excuse my voice. Let's jump into the training for today. Really important message for today is we've been building our contact lists. And as I said last week, the critical thing with last week was something really important, something different, is rather than simply adding names to our list, we add influences or ways to connect to people. So rather than adding 100 names, what are 100 different ways that we could reach out to people? And that's just a brainstorming tactic, isn't it? You're not going to necessarily employ all 100 ways, because otherwise you'd have a list that you would never get through, and you wouldn't get the other stuff done. Yeah, this is a starting point. It's not the end, right? So, but it's a kind of get the brain, the creative juices flowing, creative exercise to help us see that we don't have to go down dead ends and get stuck. That's one of the big barriers for established network marketers, is where do I go now? I've talked to all my warm market. What do I do next? So 100 different ways to connect is a great evolutionary step to 100 different names. Okay, so as we start to go on, I'm going to share my screen now and go through some examples of how we can reach out. In fact, I probably don't need to share my screen. I'll just do the talking here. So I want to identify 8 ways that we can reach out and invite people. The first one, I'll go through all 8 now. If you've got a pen handy, write them down. If not, you can listen again and make a note. But here are the 8 ways, and I'll go through each one separately. Step number 1. One sec, let me just mute all again. Okay, here we go. So step number 1, create a sense of urgency. There is great benefit in this because the currency of time has changed, hasn't it? And nowadays, people are far more impatient than they've ever been. So we want to demonstrate right out the gate. As soon as we start talking to them, we let them know, I'm not going to take a long time with you. This is going to be brief. This is going to be short and sweet. That means as soon as you create that sense of urgency, the benefit of that means you've immediately got their undivided attention. If they don't think it's going to be a quick moment, they may be already looking in their mind for ways to get off the call or get away from talking, right? Because that's what people are doing. I'm heading out the door, I'm doing something else, I've got something else, someplace else to be. And they're thinking that while you're trying to do your well-rehearsed sales pitch. We don't want that. So create a sense of urgency straight away. Point 2, be nice and be kind. I was on a call late last night that emphasized, we emphasized a critical point. We're not trying to sell something in this. We're trying to meet a need. Yeah, our goal is to help achieve other people's goals. We want to know what their problems are, their challenges are, the deficiencies in their lives are, so that we can bridge the gap. and we can make a difference for them. Yeah, we won't know that if we are focused on ourselves. So rule number 2 right after creating urgency is be kind and be nice. And I think that just pays dividends, doesn't it? I really don't even need to say that with my Nikken team, because we're so well rehearsed in that language that I think that's second nature to everyone on the call. But nonetheless, it's worth highlighting just as a reminder. Point number 3, extend the invitation. I'll talk about how we do that and what that looks like. And I'll give a couple of examples of that as well on the call today. Number 4, a wonderful rule. If I would you. Eric Worre calls this a secret weapon. Yeah, if I would you. We'll talk about that. Number 5, get the commitment. 6, confirm the commitment. 7, schedule the next appointment. And I talked about this on Ladies Leading Ladies over the weekend. This is where we plan the follow-up. Yeah, everyone talks about, so many people, I should say, not everyone. A lot of people talk about how they are uncomfortable or they fail to do follow-up. Yeah, and one of the ways we can avoid that discomfort and avoid the failure to do it is when someone's accepted the invitation to keep a commitment, plan the follow-up right there. Yeah, I've been taught the best time to invite someone is when emotion is high, because that's when the decision-making juices are flowing. Yeah, when emotion is high, that's the time you want to make the commitment or extend the invitation. It's probably why in romance, the guy, if he's the one extending the invitation to "Will you marry me?" plans some elaborate scene before he pops the question. Yeah, he's trying to get an environment where, yeah, I'm feeling it. And then boom, they pop the question. If they didn't do that, you'd be going, what the heck is this? Right? It'd be all out of context. So we do want to make sure when we're extending the invitation that there is an emotional environment that goes. And when they've accepted the invitation, that's the perfect time when they're feeling it to plan to follow up. And then finally, we finish off. Okay, so what does this look like? This is where I will do my share screen, so you can have a look and maybe take some screenshots if you so wish. So give me 1 second. Share screen. Oops. Okay, can you see that screen with the create urgency? Okay, so
Yes.
this is an example of what it might look like. 2 examples here. For your warm market, I'm running out the door, but it was important that I call you real quick. I love that language. Cold market, now isn't the time to get into this, but, and of course we can finish the sentence depending on who we're talking to there. I'll put a task next to each of these. You don't have to do it right now, but I would suggest that you make a note of this. These are examples that I'm giving here. You might want to write down 3 examples of your own, because it needs to be your own language. It needs to be your own words. It's the same with a PowerPoint presentation in my experience. If I use someone else's presentation, it's cumbersome and it's difficult. But if I put it into my own words, if I play with the narrative a bit, if I make it my own, it works for me. It's the same with these, yeah? So these are examples. They are ways to do it. I would emphasize it's not the way. It's a way to do it. It's not the way to do it. So, make some examples of your own, but use this as a formula if you so wish. Okay, be nice. Pay compliments. That's a way to do it. I've always respected the way that you have such great insight when it comes to business, or have always valued your health and your body and looked after it so well. I've always valued the fact that you are a straight talker, and you always give good advice. Yeah. Or cold market example, you've given excellent service today. I shared this example on on a Tuesday on the call yesterday with Dave Johnson on his early morning Rev call. A friend of mine who was just an excellent professional network marketer. He'd been over in the UK a number of years back from the US doing a week of training with our group. And he was on the way home and he's checking his bags in at the airport. And as he's checking his bags in, the lady's taking his bag, she's putting the tags on. He's got just a few minutes while he's in that place. We've all been there. We're all seasoned travelers here in Nikan. And how often have we just gone through the process there and done nothing? This is what he did as he was talking to her. He's on his way home, leaving the country, heading back to America. Never met her before. And he goes, he says, you know what? It's been such a long day. He says, thank you so much. He says, you've been so kind. You've given such great service today. He says, I bet you they pay you what you're worth. Well, that was a slightly leading question. It was a genuine compliment, perhaps a slightly leading question, because he knew full well she probably wasn't paid what she was worth. And she goes, oh, thank you very much. I wish they paid me what I was worth, but no, they don't. He goes, oh, that's devastating. He says, you do such a great job. She goes, oh, I'm at the end of my shift. My feet are aching. And they chatted a little bit. And he goes, you know, I have a business where I'm looking to work with people that want to get paid what they're worth. If you'd be interested, we should exchange contact details. And there you have it. Before he checked his bags in, he got the contact details, off he went, and he walked away, left the country with one last lead as he went back home. You see how this works? So simple. Pay compliments, ask questions, and be on the lookout, because it's surprising where these opportunities can come. So, great example there. He was a great example of it. Extend the invitation. Warm market example. I was told the best thing I could do when starting a business was to get some guidance from people I respect. I love this approach. If I kept it simple, could you take a look for me and let me know what you think? You can change that. You can go back to people, of course, that that know you've been in Nikan for a long time. And you can say something like, yeah, I've been told the best thing to do when running a business is to get good advice from people I respect. There's been some interesting changes in my business lately. Some new products introduced, some new incentives that have been put together. I really would like it if you could check it out and let me know what you think. Are these relevant? What do you think? So you can adjust this. This works for someone starting and it works for someone that's been in it for a long time. You can adapt and adjust just with, again, just a little bit of practice, a little bit of thought. And again, you'll notice down the bottom, I say there, write down 3 examples for yourself. This is some good practice to get into. What are 3 different ways that I could phrase this? I gave a second example that just there. I've been running my business for a while, but there's been some interesting changes over the last couple of years. And I've always valued getting good advice from smart people. Could you check out some of these changes for me and let me know what you think? I like this cold market one. In fact, I've had someone come to me just this past week. We're doing some online advertising using a similar phrase. I have a business that's expanding in your area. Could you take a look and let me know if you think it would work here? You can do targeted campaigns nowadays online where you can use that type of language if you want to do the online approach. And you can say expanding in this area, looking for new people in this area. And you can have examples there very comfortably. This is, like I said, Eric Worre's secret weapon. I like this. If I, and I've bolded the words, if I would you words to make it easy. Yeah. If I gave you a link to a website, would you check it out? If I invited you to a special conference call, would you attend? This is relevant today, specifically today, because the first part of our Zoom in event, which happens on Saturday, begins tonight with Dr. Gary Lindner's product call at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, we do the product focused message tonight, where he gives an overview of the product designed for prospects, new people, people that are interested in having a look, and that can prepare the ground for the business message that takes place on the Saturday. So if I gave you an invitation to a conference call tonight, a webinar, or a special masterclass on health and nutrition, would you attend? That's something we can be saying today and give them the invite and the link. And we can do that on the phone. We can do that on text message. We can do that on WhatsApp. We can do that on Facebook Messenger. We can do that on Facebook Live, wherever it might be. There's a whole host of spaces where we can extend that invitation and use those words, if I would you. If I invited you to a special call tonight, special masterclass on good health, would you attend? Again, write down 3 or 4. I've deliberately put in a few more there because that's a good one to play with. And there's some key words that you might want to put in there. It's free. It's all about health. Put in some good buzzwords that show some features and benefits about this masterclass. And I do like how Dr. Linda uses that term to differentiate his class on Tuesday nights. It's a masterclass. We've got Zoom events, we've got webinars, we've got conference calls, but a masterclass makes it something a little bit different. It's a little bit more educational, and that, I think, is kind of cool. So play with those words a little bit. I think that can be fun. Okay, I'm running out of time. Get the commitment. I like this. When do you think you could check it out for sure? When do you think you could listen to the podcast for sure? Those key words, I think, are very, very important. If I gave you a link to check out a website, for example, when do you think you'd be able to check it out? Would you check it out? If I would you? Oh, yeah, sure I would. Excellent. When do you think you'd be able to check it out for sure? See, that's just the natural follow-on statement. So if I gave you a link to an online video, do you think you'd check it out? It talks about nutrition, well-being, some great choices we can make for ourselves in this day and age. Would you be interested in checking it out? It's free to look at. It'll take 10 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of your time, 20 minutes. Sure, I'd check it out. Excellent. When would you check it out for sure? Oh, okay. What am I feeling as the recipient? Okay, they're nailing me down to this. It's not a passive statement. Sometimes people say, sure, I'd check it out. They're saying, yeah, at some point in the future, whenever, yeah? When I say for sure, oh, okay, this means right now. Okay, well, I guess I can check it out tonight. Fantastic. You know what's coming next? I'd love to know what you think about it. Can I call you tomorrow morning and you can tell me all about it? Let me know what you think. These are progressive steps. What you'll notice is if you put them all together, it gives you a script, a whole message from start to finish of what you can say. Again, an example, not the way, it's a way. I'd love to know what you think about it. Can I call you to find out? This is when you get to confirm the commitment and plan the follow-up. This is what removes the discomfort from following up in the first place, because you establish your motive, your reason why you want to follow up in the first place. The reason why I want to follow up is because I love you, because I care, because I'm interested in what you're thinking about and what your experience is, and your opinion matters to me. These are all great reasons to follow up, reasons we should be proud of, and reasons we should confidently share. So let them know that. I'd love to know what you think about it. Can I call you after you've done this so you can let me know what your experience was? It makes all the difference. Yeah. So please plan the follow-up. That makes such a difference and can be a revolutionary change for them and for you in your business building experience. That one little step can make all the difference in your business. Those 2 sentences, when will you do it for sure? And I would love to know what you think about it. Can I call you the next day or right afterwards to find out? Those 2 sentences, that, 20 seconds of your life can change everything. Can change everything. If you make that a habit, it can change your business dramatically. Lastly, great. Book it in, schedule the time. Give them a couple of options. We know this process pretty well, don't we? We can call you Tuesday in the morning or in the evening when the kids are in bed. Which time works best for you? Give them a couple of choices. That's kind of standard protocol, isn't it? When it comes to booking in a time, we give people a couple of options. That keeps it nice and comfortable for them and for us. And then finally, finish strong. Excellent. I really look forward to catching up with you then. And this is what I would say. I'm gonna stop there. And then I've got to go. We'll speak soon. I'll talk to you later. And then you jump off. Yeah. You promised it was going to be short and sweet at the beginning. Keep it that way. Keep that commitment that you gave at the beginning, and end. I would say this though, as we conclude, as you finish strong, as a part of your conclusion, give them a firm promise. I promise you, as you keep this commitment, you don't have to use those words of keep the commitment. As you pay close attention to what is shared tonight, if you come to this meeting on Saturday with an open heart, I promise you that you will learn something that has the potency and power to make a significant difference for good in your life. This is what happens when you give a promise, when someone has accepted an invitation and they are willing to keep a commitment. When you promise benefits like that, as you conclude and wrap up, after you've planned the follow-up, you will entrench and deepen and strengthen their resolve and determination to keep the commitment. Now they've got something to look forward to. At first, it was a passing brush with commitment. Yeah, sure, I'll take a look. Sure, I'll pop in and join. Excellent. When will you do it for sure? Can you give me a firm commitment? Okay, yes, I will definitely, I can confirm tonight for sure I'll be able to do it. Excellent. Can I follow up just to make sure everything's okay? Your opinion and your experience with this really matters to me. Okay, fine. Yeah, call me tomorrow at this time. I'll be there on Saturday. Excellent. I promise you something. I promise you, if you do this with an open mind, open heart, something good can come in here that you may not have been expecting. It happened to me. It's happened to a ton of others. I would love it if it happens to you, but please come with that open mind, because I promise you something good can come. It changes the power of the invitation, doesn't it? And it strengthens their resolve and commitment to keep it, to keep the commitment. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has been a worthwhile call today. Let's go out and invite. We've got a great masterclass hosted by Dr. Linda tonight. Let's get those invites out. That's a precursor to the Zoom-in event on Saturday. Please get people coming along to that. And of course, ever so selfishly, but I do think you'll enjoy it. Jump onto Amazon, grab the book. I think you'll love it when you read it. Thank you all very much. Love you loads. I love that, Sandra and Al. Thank you. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
I ordered it, Ben.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Stan. Oh, wonderful, Bob.
Thanks, Ben. I'm going right to Amazon now.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.